The vultures circle, black silhouettes against the harsh afternoon sun. Jedediah Thorne squinted, shielding his eyes as Hank Billings, his face grim, examined the body. Silas Blackwood, the self-proclaimed missing man, lay sprawled on the parched earth a mile outside Copper Canyon, a scattering of rare herbs spilled from his satchel. Looks like poison, Hank grunted, wiping sweat from his brow. Quick, too. No struggle. Sheriff Brody, a man of few words and even fewer smiles, knelt beside the body. Vargas say he saw Blackwood heading out this way this morning. Something about a meeting. Mateo Vargas, a wiry prospector with perpetually trembling hands, wrung his hat. He wouldn't say who he was meeting. Sitter was delicate. Jedediah felt a knot of unease tighten in his stomach. Blackwood was a charlatan, a collector of secrets and trinkets, but he's not worth this much attention. He's noticed the undercurrent of tension in Copper Canyon lately, whispers of stolen Yavapai relics, hushed anxieties about Elara Thorne's influence. Did Vargas see anyone else around? Jedediah asked, trying to keep the suspicion from his voice. Vargas shook his head, his eyes darting nervously towards the distant Mogollon rim. Just Blackwood, alone. Brody rose, his granite face unreadable. Bring him in, Jedediah. We need to keep an eye on Vargas. At the jail, Jedediah observed Vargas's restlessness. The man insisted he had no knowledge of Blackwood's death, but his fear felt palpable. He's known Vargas for years, a decent man, though easily spooked. Jedediah recalled a conversation they had a week prior. Vargas spoke of Blackwood's obsession with a Yavapai artifact, a death mask made of obsidian, rumored to hold ancient power. He wanted to buy it from me, Vargas mumbled, his voice barely audible. Said it was important to his research. Did you sell it to him? Jedediah pressed. Vargas shook his head violently. No, I told him to leave it be. Those things, they're sacred. They bring bad luck. Jedediah recalled Elara Thorne's presence in Copper Canyon. She's a woman of quiet strength and unsettling grace, deeply connected to the Yavapai people. He's seen her observing Blackwood from a distance, her expression unreadable. Later that evening, Jedediah found himself drawn to Elara's small shack on the outskirts of town, a haven of wildflowers and herbs. He found her tending a small fire, her movements fluid and graceful. He was a fool, she said, her voice soft, almost a sigh, as if she's been expecting him. Blackwood? She nodded. He saw things he did not understand, things that were not his to possess. Did you have something to do with his death? Jedediah asked, his hand resting instinctively on his holster. She met his gaze, her eyes dark and knowing. I am a protector. I defend my people. Sometimes that requires difficult choices. He glanced towards the ground, noticing a glint of obsidian partially obscured by a pile of herbs, a corner of a death mask. He didn't press her. The next morning, Sheriff Brody announced Blackwood's death, attributing it to a rare desert viper's venom. Vargas was released, though he continued to look over his shoulder, plagued by guilt and fear. Jedediah knew the official story was a lie, a carefully constructed facade to maintain order. That night, driven by an uneasy conscience, Jedediah returned to Elara's shack. He found her kneeling before a hidden entrance concealed beneath a tangle of vines, a descent into the earth. "What is this?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. She didn't answer, merely gestured for him to follow. He descended into a small, earthen chamber. On a stone altar lay a secret relic, the breath of the earth, a beautifully crafted ceramic vessel decorated with ancient Yavapai symbols. Beside it, a single obsidian death mask. "He stole this from my people," she explained, her voice resonating within the confines of the chamber. "This vessel holds the spirit of our ancestors. Blackwood sought to exploit its power." "But why didn't you tell me?" Jedediah asked, frustrated by her secrecy. She looked at him, a flicker of sadness in her eyes. "Because the truth is often more dangerous than lies. Because sometimes justice requires a sacrifice." He knew then that he stood at a crossroads. He could uphold the law, report her actions, and reinforce the fragile peace of Copper Canyon, or he could turn a blind eye, recognizing the deeper truths that lay beneath the surface. He made his choice. "Go," she said, her voice firm. "Return to your duties. Forget you ever saw this." He nodded, backing away slowly, emerging back into the night. He returned to town, the weight of his decision heavy on his shoulders. The vultures circled, waiting. He knew, with a certainty that chilled him to the bone, that the darkness surrounding Copper Canyon was far from extinguished, and that his silence had only prolonged the inevitable. He walked away, the wind carrying the scent of desert sage and the unspoken promise of a storm.